This meeting is being recorded.
What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 78. And this is part one of the Week 8 review. Tonight, we are going to go over the week that was in Week 8. And with me tonight, staying up late, dealing with technical difficulties, but here nonetheless, my best friend, your commissioner, Ben Nisman. Benny, how are we feeling? We're toughing through this one tonight, aren't we?
Doing great, Joe. Happy post-Memorial weekend to you. Another week of crazy blowouts. Very challenging decisions as far as managers of the week. And you can tell there's a little bit more of a pep in my step considering what went down yesterday and the whole week. But there's so much to break down here. Joe, be our Ricky Henderson and set the table for us, my friend.
Let's get going, boys. And Benji, you put on a Mr. Monday Massacre, a Bobby Russo beatdown here this week, man.
Yeah, I mean, this was a crazy week, and there's a lot of history going on. I'll get into that more because I did a little bit of research on the history between these two opponents.
Ooh, well, you get the 16-4 whooping this week. Perhaps a throwback and a little bit of a receipt from the beginning of the 2019 season or was it 21 where he beat you 15-5 early?
Yeah, he never beat me that big. It's all the matchups basically have stayed pretty close as far as the ones that he's won.
Gotcha. Okay. So on Sunday, quite a bit happened here. Bobby had a 2-double lead, and you got that one. Homers were tied, and Bobby got that one. You had a 1 stolen base lead, and Bobby got that one. And you guys were tied in wins. Benji, you got that one. And Ben, you had a 3 relief appearance lead, and Bobby just sort of stole that one from you. As it stands, close categories, you won by the double, the triple, 3 RBIs, an error, a win, 2 ticks on the whip. Yes, sir. Bobby wins by 2 homers, 4 strikeouts by a pitcher, and the 2 relief appearances. You guys tied in steals. For you, my friend, on the bench this week, it's a really weird number for you this week. It's 15 for 62.
$242.
You nailed it, dude. You nailed it. 242 right on the nose. That's a 3-run bomb on his own team. You got 4 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 6 RBIs, a steal, 9 walks, at 13 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The only thing that matters is the steal. Do you remember where it is? No. It was on Monday, Carlos Santana. Yeah, go figure. For your moves this week, you dropped Jose Cuas for Brenton Doyle, 0 for 2 with a run, a steal, and a walk, and a strikeout. So thanks to that guy. You dropped that kid for Julian Merriweather, 2/3 of an inning, 2 strikeouts, a 3 whip, and a relief appearance. You dropped Jose Hernandez for Brock Burke, who did not appear. Julian Merriweather for Jonathan Hernandez, who did not appear. Just those guys only had 1 day to get in?
Yeah, that's it, man, because the next day I had to make the flip to go and get more because I couldn't just sit there and wait and hope they're going to come in the next day.
That's true. That's true. You did add Kyle Hendricks, 4 1/3, a loss, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 623 and a 185. You dropped Brock Burke for Ian Jabot, an inning, a walk, a 9 ERA, and a 2 whip. But you waited in a day on this guy, didn't you?
I did. Yes, I had time to wait on that for sure.
Okay. Interesting. You dropped Jonathan Hernandez. You dropped Kyle Hendricks for Jamison Tyon, which feels like a bluff.
It was completely a bluff. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Just to make him throw starters.
Dropped Tyone for Scott McGuff, who did not appear. Dropped Ian Jabot for Jonathan Hernandez.
Magoo didn't appear? Are you sure about that?
Oh, he did? He must have. He must have if my co-host has given me that one. Oh, 2 innings, 5 strikeouts. That's a good one. That's a good one. Ian Jabot for Jonathan Hernandez. McGo for James McCann, 0 for 2 with a walk. And then you added 2 starters after the bell, which I find interesting, and Lance McCullers and Kenta Maeda. I assume this just fills up the IL spots that have been open for a while.
Yeah, they were there, and I had the ads to give, so might as well see what happens.
All right. Gotcha. Your MVP this week is Charles Blackmon. Yeah. Thought he put in a good week this week. 346 with a 370, 7 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. Is he on paternity or something? Is that, or is his balls just too big?
Bereavement. Actual, yeah. But I do want to give a shout out to Juan Soto with 7 runs, a double, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, a steal, 9 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 400 average, and a 625 on base.
Yeah, and Brandon Nimmo with the 3 triples and 2 in one game. He's just an average center fielder, though, by the way, in case you forgot about that. In any event, your least valuable hitter is still Nolan Arenado here, 100 with a 174, a double, an RBI, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. He's not going anywhere, and we're not really concerned. It's just one of those, hey, this is another week that Nolan Arenado is this award for you.
Yeah, he's been quiet.
He has, but so have the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are starting to pick it up, so I would imagine that he's going to come as the weather gets hotter as well. The Cy Young this week, speaking of Cardinals, is Miles Michaelis. 7 innings, a win, 5 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 0.71. The Cy Young is Tyler McGill, 3 2/3, a loss, 2 bombs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 982, 218. Not great. But for Bobby on his bench, Benji, this is an interesting one. It's 17 for 48.
Doesn't sound good. 336?
354 with 10 runs, 5 doubles, which would have won the category, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, which would have won the category, 12 walks, 12 strikeouts, and 2 errors. The 4 steals are littered throughout the week. The doubles are littered throughout the week. It was just a bad week for Bobby Russo to get the cryptid that is his lineup correct.
Yeah.
His moves this week, he dropped Chasen Shreve for Trevor Gott, a clean inning and a relief appearance with 2 strikeouts. He dropped James Karinchak for Patrick Corbin, 6 1/3, a win, a homer, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, an 8.53 ERA, and he does have a 173 whip. That was kind of ugly too. He dropped Lance McCullers for Noah Syndergaard, 6 innings, a loss, a bomb, a walk, 3 strikeouts, a 9 ERA, and a 150 whip. That wasn't great. He dropped both of those guys for Jesse Schultens and Michael Lorenzen. Schultens goes 4 2/3, a 386, and a 129 whip. And Lorenzen goes 6 2/3 with a walk, 4 strikeouts, an 0.45 whip, was 1 out away from getting the win that would have tied that category and at least made some more chicken salad here. But it's Detroit's bullpen, and they blew it. So his MVP this week, I gave it to Jake Cronenworth, 250 with a 444, 4 runs, 2 bombs, 3 RBIs, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter goes to Christian Walker, 130 with a 200, 2 runs, a double, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The Cy Young is Bailey Over because he only won innings, and it's 10 innings with 2 losses, a bomb, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts, a 540, and a 120. The Cy Young is Justin Steele, 3 2/3, a loss, and 4 strikeouts with a 12.27 and a 2.73. Benjamin, what I find interesting, we're going to talk about this one, and we don't get to talk about the other 2, but the top 3 teams in the league lost this week. You were part of that in this, and they all lost huge, which did nothing but clump us all right back up together, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. How do you feel sitting now just 2.5 games out of first place for yet another summer of really competitive baseball?
Yeah, it obviously feels great, specifically because I feel like I've made my own luck to an extent. A lot of these wins, I actually made the right plays and the right pickups, and they seem to have fallen my way.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to break down this history for you.
Go for it, man.
Bobby started with us in 2018. So the first time we faced each other, week 14 in 2018, Bobby was known as a Bronx Tail. Solid name.
Yeah.
9-9 tie.
Wow.
Go to 2019 now. Very special year for me, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
We faced each other in week 1 and, of course, week 16. It's an 11-7 win to Angels in the Trout Field. Bobby Russo.
What another great team name.
And then 14-7 in favor of me.
Okay.
So we're talking 1-1-1. Right?
All right.
And we go to 2021 because we didn't face each other in 2020.
Nope.
And we got 2 matchups.
Ooh.
Week 3 and week 18.
Mm-hmm. I think week 3 was the one I was referencing just before we broke this one down.
Okay. His team name was Never Have I Devers. An 11-9 win in favor of Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
An 11-8 win in favor of Bobby.
He swept you.
Yeah. Now we go a year later. Still another special year for me, but not as much as 19 and 21, of course.
Of course.
Week 4 and week 19.
Wow.
An 11-8 win in favor of Bobby. An 11-10 win in favor of Bobby.
So Bobby had beaten you all but once.
Yes. 5-1 and 1.
And 4 straight.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, and believe me, that's something that kind of registered in my memory. I didn't know the exact numbers until I actually looked into it today. But it's just something that I kind of knew that he had owned me for a while, whether it was 2 years or 3 years or whatever. I just knew that my record was basically awful against this guy.
And you get this gigantic win here, catapulting you up to the standings. We are, like we said in the open, guys, it's 2 months in, so this is kind of the checkpoint here. We have to start looking into this team. Ben, how are you feeling about your team here 2 months in?
Joe, I love this team. I really like doing the mixing and matching with the guys on my bench. There have been moments where I thought on a Sunday, maybe I can let go of this guy that I'm benching to go for this stat. And I've decided, you know what? I like this guy too much. It's just not worth it. There's a long season to go. Just didn't seem worth it. And I'll get more into that in a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Sunday because this was where I really made my bread and butter here. Because I was kind of taking advantage of the fact that Bobby had made a good amount of mistakes. He was leaving steals on the bench left and right. Friday, he left a steal on the bench. Saturday, he left a steal on the bench. Sunday, he left a steal.
All three of the weekend days, it's MJ Melendez and 2 out of TJ Friedel. If he plays TJ Friedel either of the 2 days on Sunday, he makes a little bit more chicken salad.
I don't think Friedel actually started on Sunday, so you can't blame him for that one. But the fantasy baseball universe wanted to give this guy steals for the week, and he just wouldn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was grateful that Bobby had so many, I think it was 3 home runs on Sunday, so that my Santana home run left on the bench Friday wouldn't have mattered anyway. He deserved that.
Absolutely.
Now,
and he absolutely took down relief appearances, strikeouts, and the innings. Like he pushed as hard as he could with what he had to deal with. I mean, Patrick Corbin not pitching well, Noah Syndergaard not pitching well. That's gonna contribute to your 5.10 ERA. But the WHIP is still really competitive.
Yes, but now I'll get into that in a little bit because that's what kind of closed the week up and made it the difference between 15-5 and 16-4. What I'm most proud of this matchup, as far as when we look at the score and we see that it's a quadruple up, is on Sunday, Joe. I can't believe that I had the cojones to do this. But I benched Brandon Nimmo in favor of Randall Grichuk because I was hoping for the doubles. And the only way that Nimmo is really going to burn me is a stolen base, potentially.
And he doesn't steal as much as you would think he does.
No, he doesn't.
Like, he doesn't get double-digit steals.
Right.
So,
and he had a pretty hot weekend. So I took the risk that maybe he's the guy that hits the doubles, but I kind of felt Grichuk against Tyler McGill. Like, it just kind of made sense for me. And Grichuk, that second double isn't against Tyler McGill. It was against the bullpen, and it was on his last at bat. But man, like, obviously I wanted the Mets to win that game, and they still were in that game. I mean, they lost by a run, but I felt pretty proud of the fact that I made that play because it was a major risk to bench Brandon Nimmo.
No doubt. And to win triples by one is one thing. Any week you win triples by one, you're happy. When you needed all four to get that category, and Bobby is probably pissed that he's got three triples and can't win.
Yeah. That was the first thing that happened. The second one, benching Tyler McGill in Colorado seems pretty logical, right? Even though, strikeouts are still pretty close. It's gettable. I got two starters going for the day. WHIP, it could go either way at this point, but Tyler McGill, okay, you know what? If he strikes out a bunch of guys, he gets the win, the needed win. Remember, we're tied in wins going into this day. Forget Tyler McGill, okay? Sit him down. If he beats me on my bench, great. The Mets maybe win. And if he gets the win, of course, the Mets win. He doesn't, and his WHIP is awful. Okay, so I wait to the last possible moment to play Merrill Kelly. He gets the win to grab me the category.
That's that Benji play.
So that felt great. And now we're going into that final game, that Sunday night game, the Braves and Phillies. And now, relief appearances, he's got me by one because Doc came in and that game ended up in extra innings and that guy ends up going 2 days in a row. And I'm like, okay, he's probably got that. Now, what can I do to actually counter that? I had benched Nick Martinez. And I'm thinking, if I want to, I'm pretty sure Connor Brogdon is coming into this game. I could drop Nick Martinez and get Brogdon in. But if he does come in, then even still, Bobby has two relievers. He's got Sir Anthony Dominguez, and he's got Colin McHugh. If any one of those guys come into that game, I still lose relief appearances. And I lose Nick Martinez. So I felt like I kind of had to accept the restraint, assume that no matter what, it's okay that I lose relief appearances this week. Thank goodness McHugh actually does come in, because if Brogdon comes in and neither one of Bobby's guys come in, I would have tied that category. I'm a little annoyed. Not only does Colin McHugh come in, he has a bad outing, and that's the difference that flips WHIP. Where if I did play Brogdon, I lose WHIP and I lose relief appearances. So the showing of restraint to not make that play and allow Bobby to make that mistake. I think as far as the whole matchup goes, I would say that was his biggest mistake because he had nothing really to gain except for a fluke win out of the relievers. Instead, they come back and burn him, and he lose whip as a result.
I understand that. He does end up at least splitting those two categories, whereas a flub from you adding Brogdon loses you both categories.
Right, but I never made that play, so
right, of course,
already.
I think for me the bigger one is missing all those stolen bases on the bench. The 4 stolen bases he had on the bench. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He missed one every single day, the final 4 days of the matchup. And yeah, there's some day last week in week 7, we're talking about how Bobby made chicken salad out of errors because he was supposed to have 6 and benched 3 of them. Well, here's the universe saying you were supposed to have 7 steals and you got 3. So there's the universal karma and the shall we say the law of averages.
Yeah.
When we check in on Bobby's team here now with 2 months in, how are we feeling about his team? I feel like this is still a playoff team and that this is just sort of an anomaly, a blip on the radar. He had only lost once before this.
My only fear with this team is just that the offense is really, really young. And that's something that Jason and Mike really stressed after the draft, was that he's really banking on the youth of the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rutschman, Volpe, Carroll, Green, Nootbaar, Melendez, the list goes on, and there's not really that one guy that I would scream out, this is the star of the team. Is it Jose Ramirez? Like, I guess it's Jose Ramirez. But after that, Nola, Clase, Max Fried?
Yeah, Fried maybe. I mean, nothing is, like you said, nothing is really screaming at you as far as the pitching staff.
No, this team is good because Bobby Russo manages as well as he does. Yes. That being said, this is just one of those weeks where all of the guys just did not decide to play baseball very well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Walker hit 130, Melendez hit 091, Volpe hit 091. It's a bad week.
Volpe is not really like doing what they had expected him to do as far as the Yankees go. I mean, he's been fine, and I guess he's been playing a solid enough defense. But in general, is he nearly a droppable player?
With 7 homers and 13 steals at this point, I don't think he's droppable.
I guess not. No, I guess not.
But he's hard to play when he's only hitting 198.
Right.
Yeah. And now that they moved him back down to the bottom of the order, it's getting more difficult to like justify that.
Right. But again, I feel like, and I hate to pat myself on the back here, but a lot of the things that happened and a lot of the reasons why I got this extra stat on Bobby is because of the way I played. I played Josh Bell on Sunday. I wasn't playing him often this season or this week. I just thought that that's the guy that could be Bobby. That's the guy that's been on Bobby's team in the past. He's got Jose Ramirez, and then I play him on Sunday. Boom, there's the double.
Mm-hmm. And that gets you what you need.
Yeah, I mean, I had 40 runs. I had 36 walks.
Yeah.
I think that these are certain stats that were really going to be tough to beat. A 284 average, a 388 on base.
Yeah.
A 358 ERA is going to play most of the time over 50 innings. I let him get the strikeouts. I let him get the innings pitched.
Yeah, you let him walk on all the categories that were attainable simply by volume and walked to a big win. It was, dare I say it was a schooling at that point. When Bobby is making a mistake a day for 4 days, that's fairly easy to go, all right, I'm going to walk over here and just take everything else that you can't make happen because of your mistakes.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
do wish, as a Mr. on an outside perspective, I do wish that he benched Dominguez and Colin McHugh, knowing that he had relief appearances wrapped up and he had whip wrapped up, and he could. The only thing he could get is a fluke win from the bullpen to tie that category. It didn't seem worth it. And at that point, if they do that, then okay, you tie wins. But all right, wouldn't you rather just take the loss in that category and not risk the flip of whip? So alas, I get both of them.
Yeah. Out of those 3 categories that were in flux, you end up getting 2 of them, and Bobby gets the relief appearances. Such as the coin flips, shall we say, right? I think I still see both of you guys in the playoffs this year, but we're still a bit early to start making those predictions. But you guys are going to obviously have a competitive summer with everyone else in these standings, because it has gotten just weird after this week. Speaking of getting weird, we're going to get to the bottom of the standings now as we jump over to Matt Loosee and Ari Nisman. This is 13 versus 16 now, as we see Ari take a 13-7 win on Matt Loosee.
Great win for Ari here. Love to see a better, more experienced manager take advantage of a guy that really hasn't been playing day to day as hard as the guy that's more experienced. So credit where it's due. Ari deserved this win. And obviously it is tough to see this whip so close and go in favor of Matt. It's the second time that's happened to Ari this season. I did it to him, and now Matt Loosee gets them by a tick. I mean, it's by decimals. It's hard to see that. Probably should end up 14-6 in his book, but he did have a great week. I mean, he had a 279, he had a 354 on base, 15 over the fence, and 44 RBIs, 40 runs himself, 38. I mean, this was going to be a tough team to beat from anyone.
No doubt. This was a really, really great week to Ari Nisman. He led the league in homers. He led the league in RBIs. On Sunday, stolen bases were tied. Matt put that one to bed, but he gave up an error in the process and tied that category. He did have a 13-tick lead in batting average and an 18-tick lead in on-base percentage. That's what Ari flips here to make this thing as big as it is. 4 close categories this week. Ari wins by 2 triples. He wins by 7 ticks on the batting average, 8 ticks on the on-base percentage, and 2 saves. Yes, Ari Nisman won a category by 2 saves in the year of our Lord 2023. Matt Loosee wins by the 2 stolen bases I mentioned, a loss, a home run given up by a pitcher, and you mentioned it, Benji. It is .0059 on the whip. They tied, of course, in errors. For what do we have first? I think it's going to be Ari on his bench. Yes, it is, Benjamin. That is going to be the one of the week. Here we go. 30 for 94.
Not too bad. Say it again. 30 for 94.
Correct.
309.
It's 319. 10 ticks off. Ready for this? 25 runs. That was one fewer than what Matt scored. 8 doubles, which is exactly what Matt scored. A triple, which is more than what Matt scored. 5 homers, 13 RBIs, a steal, 9 walks, 21 strikeouts, and guess what? None of it plays. Not a single bit of it plays. Few moves this week for him. He added Mike Myers, not the slasher movie guy, nor is it the guy who played in The Love Guru.
Powers. Okay.
Yep, we're gonna go with crappy movie. It's instead the guy who plays on Kansas City. 4 2/3, a walk, eight strikeouts, a 193 and a 150. He dropped that guy for Steven Matz. 4 innings, a loss, a homer, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 1350 and a 325 WHIP. Do you remember when Steven Matz was like supposedly good on Toronto?
I remember when he was supposedly good on the New York Metropolitans.
It's a good point. Yeah. We said all along he is not a number 2. He might not even be a starter anymore.
No. And I remember when people were comparing him to Matt Harvey. Like right when he came up, remember he had a couple of hits, I think, and he got the win. And it was so quickly that people, this guy might be better than Matt Harvey. And everyone was like, all right, take it.
He's not even better than John Neese, whose spot he took.
Yeah.
He dropped Steven Matz, and then he added Christian Walker. Christian Vasquez over 2 with 2 strikeouts, and then dropped that guy. His MVP this week, I'm torn. You have to help me decide here. It's between Ryan McMahon and Jorge Soler.
Ryan McMahon just tore up the Mets all weekend.
Yeah, and Soler was tearing up whoever he was playing because he hit 5 bombs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with McMahon just because of the average and the on base, and those seem a lot closer when you see 279 and 272.
Yeah, 320 with a 452, 6 runs, 2 doubles, 3 bombs, 10 RBIs, a steal, 6 walks, and 8 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Shea Langoliers, 143 with a 182, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, a walk, and 7 strikeouts. The Cy Young this week is Luis Castillo. 12 innings, 2 wins, 4 walks, 18 strikeouts, nothing earned, and a 75 WHIP. The Cy Yuck is Lucas Giolito, 3 2/3, a loss, a bomb, 7 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 982, and a 355 WHIP. For Matt Loosee on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 6 for 25.
Is it 242?
It's 240.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, 6 runs, a triple, 3 RBIs, a steal, 9 walks, and 8 strikeouts. None of it plays. I mean, the 9 walks plays if you want to start breaking down how to get 6 of them in.
Nah.
You know, the steal doesn't play. The 3 RBIs, he lost by 10. The triple doesn't even play because he got 2 of those. Transactions this week. He dropped Adam Ottavino for Jimmy Cordero, a third of an inning, a 108 ERA, a 12 WHIP, a walk, a strikeout, the loss, a partridge in a pear tree, and this shit-ass relief appearance. He dropped Alex Young for Joel Payamps, a 2/3 of an inning, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He dropped Huáscar Brazoban for Domingo, piece of garbage. And then dropped Jimmy Cordero for Brady Singer, 5 innings, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 360, and a 140. Not terrible. His key players this week. Michael Conforto is up first. 435 with a 481, 5 runs, a double, 3 bombs, 7 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Joey Gallo. No hits, 2 strikeouts. Stop. Get this guy off the roster. The Cy Young is Michael Kopech. 7 innings, a win, a walk, 9 strikeouts, nothing earned in an 0.43. And the Cy Yuck goes to Freddie Peralta, who had an ERA in the Middle Ages. Benjamin, what do we got here?
Well, obviously, this is a must-win for Ari. I mean, he's had a rough season so far. This was a get-right kind of week for him, so I'm happy for him. I'm happy that it was nearly a double-up. I'm happy that with his humongous bench that none of those stats end up playing. So that was pretty important. Obviously, it's frustrating to lose by a home run given up the way he lost with. Those stats were gettable, but I'm not going to get too nitpicky with him. He did what he had to do.
No doubt. Ari's Ari's going to keep being competitive every single week in the categories and strategy of which he goes. This is not a surprise. And yes, it was a must win, as we see yet again. Despite a better week from Matt Loosee, we're still seeing at least 3 days this week where we missed out on some stuff very easily to get in. And though none of it played, that's not his doing. That's just Ari having the big team. And no, it's Ari having the big team and being able to set a lineup every single day when this guy's throwing 7 dudes out in the lineup.
Man,
that's what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, if Ari's throwing 9 every single day and this guy's throwing 6 on Monday, then yeah.
Yeah. Now that's a light day in general, but he could have had more.
Exactly. You mentioned, however, that this was a get right week for Ari. I'm going to tell you who had himself a get right week, and he got his get right week against Casanova, and that's the Bounty Hunter. Let's talk about this matchup here, sir. $14-7. Frank gets the double up, the largest double up possible in the bigs. 14-7 with a win. On Sunday, they were tied in innings pitched and wins, and Frank put the hammer down and took that away. That's it. That's the only change on Sunday. Close categories, Frank wins by 3 runs, a triple, an error, 2 wins, and 2 home runs given up by a pitcher. Henry won by 1 loss, and they did not tie in anything. For Frank on his bench, Benji, it is a 4 for 23.
Well, good job by Frank, actually. 168?
174. Man, you are right on the you're right around it, and hitting the 242 to start the show has been spot on. You got to give yourself some credit tonight.
Okay, I appreciate the shoulder rub, man.
Man, you're doing real good tonight. 4 runs, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. And guess what? None of it plays. Good job, Frank.
Very good.
His transactions this week, he dropped Xavier Curry and Keenan Middleton. He added Paul DeYoung, 2 for 5 with a run, a double, a homer, 4 RBIs, and 3 strikeouts. Well done. You're pulling that guy. You pulled Brooks Raley for an inning, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He dropped Paul DeYoung for Blake Sable, 1 for 2 with a double. He dropped Joe Barlow for Jesse Chavez, an inning, a 1 whip, and a relief appearance. He dropped AJ Minter for Will Vest, an inning and a third, a win, 2 strikeouts, and a relief appearance. He dropped Blake Sable for Bobby Miller, who went tonight. He dropped Yanni Chirinos for Ronnie Mauricio. There's your NA guy. He dropped Jalen Beeks for Xavier Curry, 3 innings, a win, an 067 whip, and a relief appearance. That's the extra win on Sunday, was this random relief appearance. Brooks Raley gets dropped for Dory Moreta, an inning and a third, 2 strikeouts, an 075 whip, and a relief appearance. And finally, Jesse Chavez gets dropped for Big Vinny V, Vince Velasquez, coming back off the IL, 2 innings, a loss, a walk, a 3 strikeouts, an 18 ERA, a 4 whip, and a trip back to the IL.
Yeah.
How wonderful. His key players this week, we're going to start with Paul Goldschmidt, who was his MVP. 304 with a 407, 4 runs, a double, 3 homers, 3 RBIs, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. I had a funny story to tell you about Frank and Paul Goldschmidt. He asked me yesterday, or maybe it was even today. He says, Paul Goldschmidt had a down year last year, didn't he? And I was like, Paul Goldschmidt was the NL MVP last year. And he went, oh, yeah, no, that was the year beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Goldschmidt had 1 bad year. It was his first year in St. Louis. That was...
And was it really bad, or was it bad for Paul Goldschmidt?
It was it was Paul Goldschmidt bad, right? I don't know. His least valuable hitter this week is William Contreras, 167 with a 286 with a walk and a strikeout. His Cy Young this week is that guy Spencer Strider, 12 innings, a win, a loss, 2 bombs, 4 walks, 20 strikeouts with a 3 ERA and an 092 whip. We'll just say it now. He got it right. He got it right. It was a homer pick, but he got it right. This dude is leading the league in strikeouts, and it's not really all that close. He's really good.
And definitely a risky pick where he got him, because it was
No
the
doubt.
16th pick, and you get to see everybody go away. Like, there would have been other starting pitchers, other potential aces that would have come back to him for the third and fourth round, but he wanted this guy, and you're right, he got it right.
Yeah, absolutely. His Cy Young he did not get right, which was Will Vest, 2 2/3, a win, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 10-13, and a 150 over 3 relief appearances. It was not great from that guy. For Henry on his bench, Benjamin, and this was not a good week to be Henry Collins on his bench. It is a 17 for 51.
17 for 51.
Yep.
Three 29.
You're still that damn close. It's a perfect third. It's a 333.
Yeah, it is.
And yet you missed it by what, 4 ticks? Give yourself some credit, man. 10 runs, which would have won him the category. A triple, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 walks, and 9 strikeouts. There's a lot here. There's the outfield, which is a problem. The infield, which has a problem. It feels like there needs to be some sort of decision at now this point. We're at Memorial Day. We need to now know who's on this team and who's not, right?
Yeah, there's just the thing is, I'm okay with him playing matchup to matchup, day to day, but there's one glaring one that jumped out at me, Joe. So let's get into it.
Yeah, there was a George Springer benching, and I don't think George Springer belongs on the bench in any capacity. And he went 4 for 5 with 3 runs, a triple, a homer, 2 RBIs, and he was on the bench. And the only question I have is, yeah, it was 3 runs. What? Why?
Let's look. Let's take a look.
Because it was Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Who was the
and
pitcher?
What did we see on Tuesday? Oh, God, I don't know. That would be something we'd have to Google. But at the moment,
okay, I'll do that.
We're playing Profar in Colorado in left. Now, the issue is that there's 3 center and right field guys, so he has to play the Brian De La Cruz play over George Springer is what this boils down to.
Yeah, and if you look at the day before,
he's also in Colorado.
Right, but look at the day before and what happens. There's another 4 for 4 that happens on the bench, right?
Is that Brian De La Cruz 4 for 4 with 2 runs?
Correct.
And the outfield still produced.
Right. So I guess he thought that, you know what, this is the hot guy. I got to bring him in. You know, I missed it on Monday. I got to play him on Tuesday. The problem is that Springer was the guy that got the seat. And even if George Springer is facing Garrett Cole or Nolan Ryan or Roger Clemens or Catfish Hunter, you got to play your third round pick.
3rd or 4th round, yeah.
Yeah. And
you got to play that guy.
One, because we look back now and we see the score. If you want to say average and on base, wouldn't have mattered either way. I'm fine with that, but I'm pretty confident in saying that triples would have played and those runs would have played. So 14-7 instead is a 12-7. I mean, that helps. You know, a -5 versus a -7.
I'm gonna go ahead and maybe take the stance that that if you get both those 4 for 4 and 4 for 5 in,
right?
Then
that's a much bigger if, though.
I'm just asking for one of them, right?
Yes.
I think we're asking for one of them, and I think we're asking for the Springer one specifically.
One.
The runs tie it, the triples tie it. Yeah, I think you need to get that one in. That's the most painful one. And then somewhere along the way, you also have more stuff here. And I even wrote in my notes here, like, outfield is hard for Henry right now because he's got 5 guys but 3 of them can only play 2 positions in the outfield. So you're locking in your utility spot, and then you've just got left field.
So I look back here on Tuesday, and it was Taj Bradley for the Rays. So I guess Henry's thinking, oh, the Rays are really hot. They're a really good team. No matter what pitcher they throw out there, they win the game. But again, it's Taj Bradley, and George Springer's the leadoff hitter this day. Yeah, that's the guy that's got to be played, and I
He's
think
gotta
he
be in
knows
there.
that. And he this is a learning experience.
Oh,
and
no
this
doubt.
is not the first time that Henry's had a wake up call with this flip flopping. It's probably not going to be the last time. Like he said, he's a child at this, and that's okay. And it's okay to have growing pains, but it is important to learn from them. So I know that this was an important matchup for him. And I know this is probably the first time that Casanova has faced Bounty Hunter in any aspect in a one-on-one matchup. So this was an important one for both of them. And it's heartbreaker that he only gets one crack at it this year.
Yeah, but that's the great thing about the bigs is that though we have this 1-0 record for the Bounty Hunter here, that does not mean that this is over. It's only over if Casanova tucks tail after one season.
That's right.
Let's talk about his transactions this week. He dropped Josh Naylor for Scott Alexander, an inning, a save, and a relief appearance. Savvy as hell, and it helped you win that category. Good job. He dropped Gary Sanchez for Yusei Kikuchi, 5 innings, a loss, 2 homers, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 9 ERA, and a 2 whip. I know I personally, Benjamin, will always remember Mets legend Gary Sanchez. He dropped Will Myers for Dominic Smith, also former Mets legend, 2 for 4 with a run. He dropped Dory Moreta for Oscar Mercado, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. He dropped Mercado for Josh Naylor, 2 for 3 with a walk. And he added Kyle Bradish, 6 2/3, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 135, and an 075 on a Sunday. Well done, sir. Well done. That gets your ERA at the bare minimum. His MVP this week is going to be Bryson Stott. 321 with a 375, 5 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 3 RBIs, 3 steals, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, and an error. The least valuable hitter is Brian De La Cruz, who hit 056 with a 261 in his lineup because he missed the 4 for 4 day. He did have 5 walks, but 5 strikeouts, a steal, and only 1 run. The Cy Young is going to go to Zach Eflin here. 7 innings, a win, 2 walks, no strikeouts. And this is why I wanted to give him the Cy Young, because is it possible to get a Cy Young while striking out nobody? Yeah. 129 ERA and a 114 whip. His Cy Yuck this week, well, that's Garrett Cole, surprisingly enough. 11 innings, a win, 4 bombs, 6 walks, 11 strikeouts, an 818, and a 145. Yikes. Benji, what do you got for our 2 old friends here?
Well, I got 6 under 500 for Henry, 3 under 500 for Frank. Like you said, a get right week for Frank. And 6 under is not so bad after 8 weeks. You know, we're not even halfway through this thing. He's a rookie manager, and he's been kicking himself a little bit. We spoke a little bit on Sunday saying he doesn't feel like he's been getting it right no matter what he does. And it's easy to get into a mental slump in the bigs. You know, we've all been there where we just think, you know, we have one guy to bench, just one guy to bench, and we get the wrong guy. I remember a day where I was texting with you, and it must have been either 2017 or 2018. I go, Joe, watch. I'm going to bench Adam LaRoche, and he's going to hit a home run. Just watch this. And he did it. And it was like 5 days in a row that I had one guy to bench, and he would hit a home run. And it just happens. You can put yourself in your own mental slump. You can end up over-managing or under-managing. But either way, he's such a young player in this, and he's going to get better. And all he needs to do is have a little bit of success, and that confidence will go straight up the roof. I promise you. So
This is one of those moments where you see the struggle that we see with a lot of young managers. Frank went through it. Brian Lebo is going through it. Kostas went through it for a very short period of time. But
last year.
There you go. That's another one. You see, you get a little taste of success, and then here comes the, oh my God, it just feels like I get everything wrong for like 3 weeks straight. And yeah, sometimes you do. But that's the bigs, man. And when you get it right, when you can scream in the middle of the kitchen, I picked up that guy who doubled today. Me. You get proud of yourself because I promise it's coming.
Yeah, and then look at the other side. Frank, who has had moments where he picks up Brad Miller on a like Thursday 3-home run day, and he made that happen. I mean, I'm referencing something that either happened in 21 or 22. But my point is that Frank, who is someone that you reference, has had moments where he would overmanage the crap out of his team and end up putting it in the cellar himself. Now it's playing with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more pep in his step. And now he's only 3 under 500. He's in a really good position. He's got a very tough opponent this week. But even still, he's coming in with a lot more confidence. I'm proud of this manager.
No doubt. This get right week was perfect timing for him because I think he was starting to get concerned that the standings were starting to separate and he wasn't really where he wanted to be. And today I talked with him and I said, look at the standings. From 4th to 13th is 8 games. And if you're in that, you're in it. And if you're not, you're still in it.
That's right.
So it is just another long season. This is just another great week to keep you competitive. Good job, Frank. Great job, man. Great job. Henry, there's nothing to be concerned about, though. Absolutely nothing to be concerned about. Don't get discouraged. That's the bigs.
And especially, this was my number 1 manager of the week last week. So It's not like he's that far removed from having a big week. And he's got a solid roster here. He's got one of the best bullpens in our entire league. Like, there is enough on this roster that they can do the work for him on some weeks. Like, they'll carry when he doesn't have necessarily the greatest managerial decisions.
No doubt. No doubt. And you know what? For a rookie manager to be this high in the standings at this point,
it's fine.
It's a testament to what he can and will do in the future. It's
absolutely.
Speaking of guys who, that's not a nice segue. And actually, it's just, it's time to talk about my matchup. You had mentioned Frank's very, very tough opponent this week. That's me. I'm coming off a loss though, Benji.
It was a tight matchup though, wasn't it? And a very fascinating, nearly incredible comeback on Sunday.
No doubt. No doubt. And Kostas, I give him all the credit in the world. I had him kind of, I don't want to use the words on the ropes because we know who uses the term on the ropes when it's Tuesday.
Nice. Great reference.
That being said, this was a really fun matchup. We went into Sunday and I think it was everything was on the table here. It was, I could win, he could win, we could tie, anything could go down. And it ended up being a tie after Sunday. Miguel Castro actually gets awarded a win in lieu of a save, and that unties saves and gives him the 10-9 win. That's how that happens. However, on Sunday, Kostas had a 1 steal lead, and I tied him there. Errors were tied, and I gave that to him. And Kostas was ahead by 2 losses, and he took them both to tie that category. Close categories this week for Kostas. He won by 3 doubles. He won by a triple, the error, 9 ticks on the batting average, a save, 3 home runs by a pitcher, 4 walks, and 7 ticks on the ERA. I win by 2 home runs, 2 strikeouts by a pitcher. We tied in stolen bases and losses. For Kostas on his bench, Benjamin, I haven't even looked at these numbers yet. Oh, he went 4 for 20.
200.
He gets 2 this week, guys.
Oh my God.
Woo!
Show.
Sweat that one out, Benji. Sweat it out. Feeling good. All right. He left a run, 4 doubles, 3 RBIs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. None of it plays. But the loss from Kramer was huge and also could have flipped strikeouts, which was a benching he did on Saturday. He left 13 and a third innings, a win, a loss, 8 strikeouts from Heaney and Kramer. They were against each other, and he decided not to play either of them.
Makes sense.
A couple of moves this week. He dropped Joey Wentz for Tyler Rogers, 2/3 of an inning, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 150 whip, and a relief appearance. And he dropped Dominic Fletcher for Spencer Steer, who got him the second triple. And fucking that guy. All right, that's the guy. That's it. Those are the only moves he had. His most valuable hitter this week is, and I quote here, absolutely Freddie Freeman. 440 with a 533, 5 runs, 5 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Jesus Christ. He's really, really good. The least valuable hitter is definitely JT Realmuto. Yeah, I guess so. 143 with a 280, 3 runs, a double, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Fernando Tatis hit 120, but he also had 2 bombs, which is insane. So I'm not going to give it to that guy. The Cy Young is Hunter Green. What? 6 innings, a win, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks. I remember watching this start, and I was really mad at this start. An 0.33 whip. Yeah, I was really upset with this start.
Yeah, and not for nothing, the Cincinnati Reds are 3 out of first place.
It's insanity. And all of a sudden, the Pirates are bad again.
Yeah.
The Central is the NL Central is just crazy mediocre. It's just crazy mediocre. Nobody's good.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same thing about the AL Central.
Yeah, I agree. Alek Manoah is definitely the Cy Young yet again. 3 innings, a loss, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 12 ERA, and a 2.67. Benjamin for me on my bench. Oh, hey, this one you might get too. It's a 1 for 8.
Man, I used to know this off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 1 for 10 is 100, 1 for 8 is 167?
125. 167, I think, is a 1 for 6.
Yeah.
And I only had 4 strikeouts. So there you go. 1 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. You're welcome. That's as good as a bench as you could possibly have. I dropped Chris Taylor for Josh Fleming. 6 innings, a win, a home run, a walk, 2 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, and a 1 whip. I don't know what the black magic is on that guy, but he also was terrible today or yesterday for Mike Haber. On Sunday, he was terrible for Mike Haber, and that was just bad. I dropped Brent Honeywell for Seth Brown, 2 for 4 with an RBI. I dropped Seth Brown and Joe Jimenez for Marco Gonzalez, 6 innings, a win, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 3 ERA, and a 1 whip against Oakland. Justin Topa, who had a clean inning with a clean inning in a relief appearance. And Seth Brown, I dropped for Jose Siri, who went 1 for 3. Dropped Topa for Steven Wilson, an inning and 2/3, 2 strikeouts, and a 60 whip again in a relief appearance. Dropped Siri for Rowdy Tellez, and 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Dropped Fleming for Liberatore, 5 innings, a loss of 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 720, and a 140 at Cleveland.
Thanks.
Dropped Victor Gonzalez for Michael Rucker. That's the guy who cost me the week. 2 2/3, a homer, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 1688, and a 338. And I added Danny Columby, a 1/3 of an inning in a relief appearance. I dropped Rucker for Chris Well, 4 innings, a win, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, a 225, and a 175. Dropped Wilson for Siri, over 4 with 3 strikeouts, but he tripled on Sunday. Dropped Chriswell and Rowdy Tellez. And once again, Benjamin, it's all 12. It's all 12. It's all 12 yet again. My MVP is Gunnar Henderson. What? No way, Jason Ashby. No way is Gunnar Henderson my MVP. What was his line? 333, 429 with 3 runs, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and only 2 strikeouts. Well done. My least valuable hitters off the team today, it's Mauricio Dubon, who just doesn't get into the lineup anymore now that Altuve's back. So I dropped him. 083 with a 214 on base. The Cy Young is Miguel Castro because Jason refuses to give it to Fleming. I really want to give it to Fleming, but I think we'll give it to Miguel Castro. 3 2/3, a win, a save, a walk, 3 strikeouts, nothing earned, a 109, and 4 relief appearances. 4 of them. Loved it. The Cy Young is Michael Rucker. I already talked about him, and I don't want to talk about him again because he sucks. Benji, what do you see here? This is 2 dudes who played to the middle in another week of blowouts.
Yeah, it's one of the only tight matchups we basically had this week. And this is an important matchup for Kostas, one for his confidence to prove that he can take down another big manager the way he took out Mike Haber in week 1. And he narrowly lost this one. I mean, I think Hellenic was given a stolen base right at the end, Joe, and then I guess maybe it was taken away for defensive indifference. Maybe you know a little bit more about it. The save from Miguel Castro becomes a win. So I was actually talking to Kostas, and he was kind of calling it a little bit early. He thought he had it at 12-8, and I said, dude, still going. Don't call it while it's still happening. Strikeouts are still in play. Here comes Daniel Bard. He's going to strike out a guy. He's coming in for another inning. He still has like 4 more relievers to come in. I think he's going to get strikeouts. You did. So you got to be okay with this, Joe. I mean, 12-8 to go to 10-9 just that quickly. You're fine. You're over 500. Kostas, he's now 7 over 500. That's really good for Kostas after 8 weeks. It's certainly better than he did last year at this point.
No doubt.
So I'm proud of him. I know he should be proud of himself because this is a very, very stressful matchup. It always is when you're playing against Joe Schubert. And as far as you go, Joe, like this is nothing off. This is nothing for you. This is not a big deal, you know, and you're just waiting for that combustion that you're just, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Yes. It could be this week he gets Frank. It could be next week, or it could never come. And I could just continue to play in this sort of, I like playing in this Bobby Russo role where I'm just sort of laying in the weeds, waiting for the right time to strike. And if it comes, it comes. And if it doesn't, well, it's been a nice run of 9 straight playoff appearances. So if this is the year that 6 different dudes get in, that would be great, honestly. And I mean that sincerely. But recognize that a decade of dominance needs to happen, and I'm going to play my ass off every single week. To Kostas, it's a stat correction win, and he put a lot of stock into the idea that he beat 2 of the quote-unquote elite 3. Did he tell you about this?
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. He totally told me.
Oh, okay. Then let me hear. Okay. All he said to me was that he beat the elite 3, 2 of the elite 3. He feels really confident about making the playoffs this year. I love that I'm hearing this, and let's see what you got, Kostas. Let's see you make the playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm that third tier that he's waiting to compete against. He's got me in 6 more days. And and he's never beaten me. I've beaten him 4 times, 3 in 2021, and then I got him last year. So I think going in, I have a little bit of momentum just from him knowing that, but even still, he's got to just worry about beating the guy he's playing on that given week. He's got, let's see. He's got, who does he have this week? Adam. Okay.
Adam Lowenstein this week. That's no easy matchup. That offense has been really stout all year long. So Benji, we're going to move on to the records portion of the show. We had a really bad team this week. It was a futile team setting records across the board for least runs scored, tied that record, set 3 individual records for the season, batting average at 160, on base percentage at 238, and 5 doubles. He tied the home runs given up by a pitcher for the season at 20. Christian Wood, just a bad week.
Yeah. And it shows, I mean, he's having a really, really rough season. I might be playing him either at the best time or at the worst time when he's ready to explode.
No doubt. We had 3 teams this week tie the record for most walks given up by a pitcher at 36. It was myself, Ari, and Jason all gave up 36 walks this week. And Mike Haber has set the high bar in ERA, gentlemen. If you're going to jump the high bar, you got to go over a 6.47 over 7 days. Yikes. We are also at the 8-week point, and as a checkpoint, we like to check in on who's undefeated and who's winless. I told you that this was going to be a fun little thing here at the end. Well, we're here now. So undefeated teams in categories over the first 8 weeks, Benjamin. You're the first one I'm going to talk about. You're 8-0 in strikeouts by a hitter.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I figured. No, I don't know if I knew it, but I assumed it based on how I drafted.
You're also 5-0-3 in triples, for whatever that's worth.
Okay.
Jason Ashby is 8-0 in home runs, stolen bases, and strikeouts by a pitcher. Matt Loosee is undefeated in errors. And Josh Haber is 8-0 in ERA. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's important.
That's a really impressive one. Winless teams, we've only got 3. I'm winless in stolen bases so far. Jason Ashby is winless in home runs given up by a pitcher. And Ari, of course, winless in relief appearances. All right, managers of the week time. Benjamin, who do you have at number 3?
It was a really, really tough decision as number 3 because we talked about Ari and how none of his stats really played. But as far as the guy that worked his ass off for a triple up, it's Josh Haber staying strong in second place. I mean, he won by 2 doubles. He had a 3.18 ERA versus a 3.29. He managed to have 14 home runs. I mean, this guy is just having an unbelievable season, and he's playing to the score so well every single week. So I had to acknowledge that. Josh Haber, number 3.
Josh, it is wonderful to see both Haber brothers at the top of the standings. Do you sense my sarcasm just slightly? I hope that we see this for only 1 week, but something tells me that this might be a duo that we see at the top for a little bit here. He's not going to make my top 3 this week. My number 3 is going to be one of our co-hosts, Jason Ashby. Jason got himself right. We talk about get right weeks. A get right week over James McCloskey here, a double up win and one of the top 3 teams. You know, when the top 3 teams lose, you have to acknowledge who it was that beat them. Here's the first guy, number 3. Good job, Jason. Benny, who's going to be number 2 for you?
Actually, one of the managers that we discussed on this show, it's Frank Bucco to me. The fact that nothing plays, that even if Henry gets it right with the George Springer decision and Dela Cruz on Monday, he still loses. Maybe it's 12-7 instead of 14-7, but Frank had this in hand, and he played it really beautifully, and that cannot be ignored. So Frank Bucco is my number 2. Give credit to the bounty hunter.
The bounty hunter has got his credit where he deserves. He doesn't make my top 3 either, and I love that he had a good win and a get-right win here. It's a rookie manager. He made a lot of mistakes, and I think Frank was able to capitalize and use his experience to get this win. I take nothing away from what he did. I take nothing away from the get right. I just have to, when I'm splitting hairs on who it's going to be every week, I have to look at opponent too. Benjamin Nisman, you're my number 2 because Bobby Russo was a red hot team. He had lost only once prior this year, and you took him to school.
Yeah. And honestly, man, even if Blackman doesn't hit that bomb late, Gritch does get me that RBI to win that category. And the fact that Gritch had got those 2 doubles for me instead of Nimmo,
no doubt.
It's a really, really satisfying decision, dude.
Yeah. And who will be your number 1 as a satisfying decision to have made?
Oh my God, it's a no-brainer for me. It's got to be Brian Lebo, man. Like when you beat Mike Haber that way, you basically beat the best guy at his own game. I don't care that Mike Haber's offense couldn't hit a lick finally. You're playing against the guy that's arguably the best day-to-day manager. And if he's struggling, he finds a way to get other stats. And Brian Lebo is like, no. This is my week, and it's about time. And how about this? I mean, this guy is having such a tough season. Look where he is in the standings now, Joe. I mean, he's gotten himself right in the smack middle of this thing. He's 11, sure, but 5 under 500, and what? 3.5 out of the playoff spot, 3.5 behind you. That's amazing based on what he has been struggling with in the first 7 weeks.
Brian Lebo has been texting me every single day, religiously, trying his best to talk about resurrecting this offense because it has been so bad. However, this past week, we had quite a talk about the wonderful week he had against Mike Haber. It was an absolute just drubbing, and it's about time that Mike Haber's team just calmed down. I said it to Mike personally that I look at it like universal karma here. Your team cooled way off right after you were given the universe's gift of scheduling and whatever happened with McCloskey. So for Mike Haber, you take this and you just walk. It's okay. You're still in first. All it did was make it a little bit more exciting. Rather than having an 11-game lead, you've got a 2-game lead. Besides, you wouldn't want to win that way again anyway. Let's see a little bit of fight, a little bit of gumption, a little bit of grab by the balls and have to carry it with you. Yeah, you don't want to have to run away and hide every single year.
There is something to be said with winning with that adversity, just when there's the struggle, it's really the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's the way you get there.
And this is that run that we thought Brian Lebo might go on, and this might be the start of it. This is what can kickstart that team. Maybe we see a trade from him coming. I don't know. I really don't. I have nothing to do with it. Benji, this has been an unbelievable show, and I'm so glad we stuck around for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy that we got through this. It's definitely been weird to have to hear my voice in my ear as an echo, and I've been trying to ignore it the entire time, but I managed to. So I'm grateful that we been through 8 weeks, and it's been really special, man. We've had a lot of great stories and a lot of accomplished managers doing great things, and the fact that for certain guys that a tough loss, a tough day, it's affecting them so much in a way that means something to me. It means that this league matters to them, and you know what that means to me, man. I'm grateful to be the commissioner of this league.
And I am just happy that we have all of these guys here participating every single day and making this league what it is. The show, I've said it before, would be nothing without you guys because we wouldn't have anything to create. And when you have this much passion in a league, man, it really, really makes me feel good to be a part of this. Speaking of being a part of things, June the 24th, it's a Saturday in Brooklyn Cyclones. June the 26th, it's a Monday. Mets Brewers in Citi Field for the baseball Bigs Conclave 2023. Get in there, find your seats, and let's have some fun. Benny, thank you again for being here with me. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, guys, it has been real and it's been fun. And it is always real fun in the Bigs. We'll see you next time.